Welcome back everybody. In this video I'm going to be talking to you about prototyping. If you take anything away from this video, I want you to remember that no idea comes into your head fully formed. It needs to be developed into reality. What this really means is that any idea you have for a game or otherwise, it can sound great in your head, but when you put it onto paper or when you actually start making it, it may not be as perfect as you first envisioned, and that's okay. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about prototyping and why it's very important for especially new developers to prototype when they're creating their games. So the first thing I'm going to start off by talking about is, what is your goal? So is your goal to create? You know what I mean? Some people just enjoy the act of creating, for example, drawing or writing. They might really connect with that, and game development is just another outlet for that. And that's a completely fine goal, is just to be creative. But you shouldn't mix that up with making money, for example. If you want it to be a professional endeavor, then being creative and creating a professional product may not align with, for example, your time commitment or even investment money-wise for if you wanted to actually sell the game physically, for example. So when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm referring to my experience with GB Studio. And GB Studio is a way that you can make Game Boy games in 2022 that uses drag and drop. You can also export your games for the Analog Pocket. But basically it lets you have a GB file, which then you can basically flash onto a cart and sell on a cartridge that people can play on their actual Game Boy. Or you can just export it as a web game and put it on itch, for example. So let's say it was my first game. Going back to my first game, the goal was to compete in the game jam and upload something. So I basically created a small story game which didn't really push too many boundaries. And every time I encountered a problem, I would basically just avoid it and take it out of the game. So the game ended up very linear and very simple. And in the end, you could say I achieved my goal because I uploaded it within the time limit of the game jam. So when you think about your goal, you need to think about obviously your time commitments, your money commitments, what you actually want to be doing with the game idea itself. And with that in mind, we're moving on to our second point, which is to start physical to capture your ideas. So write down the idea on paper. Don't just have it in your head and then move straight into GB Studio, for example. Write your ideas down and sketch ideas. You know, what does your character look like, for example, if it even has a character. You know, write down all of the things that make your game in your head what it is. So that, let's say you didn't have any time right now, you could come back to it and it makes sense again when you try and pick it back up. Writing your ideas down is also great because you might very quickly realize it's not possible within your game engine. Obviously, if you're new to GB Studio, you may not know what is and isn't possible, but once you get familiar with your game engine, you will know what you are capable of and what would require more help, more time, more people maybe. And you might also realize that it's not even a digital game that you're creating. You might be making it, you know, drawing it down, and you realize this is a story, but I'm enjoying drawing it on paper. And it might be a comic, for example, or it might be a board game, or it might just be writing. You might just write a story, right? And sometimes your ideas don't have to be game ideas, and they especially don't have to be GB Studio ideas. You should definitely just write things down to catalog it and also start making sense of the things that are in your head. Like I said at the beginning, no idea comes into your head fully formed. You have to spend the time developing it into making it reality. So the next 2 points could be interchangeable in which order you do them, but I've put discuss your ideas with others. And I find that talking, even like this for a video, my ideas come a lot more clear once I say them out loud. Just like putting them onto paper, saying them out loud, it makes them more real, especially for me. And letting someone else hear your idea and listening to their feedback or their opinion can be quite valuable. Especially if you're in the GB Studio Discord or Reddit, you may find people would have suggestions for how to do things that you may have thought were impossible, or suggest things to basically make your idea more feasible if they aren't possible. And you should definitely get over the idea of people will be stealing your ideas. It doesn't really happen. And even if they did, your perception of your idea will be different to the way that people perceive your idea themselves. So let's say we're both making a rhythm game or something like that. We both probably have a different taste in music, a different art style, a different way of introducing the game, like it's arguably the world is better if you say, I'm going to make a rhythm game, then somebody goes, oh, I want to make a rhythm game, and then makes one too. And it's not like a rhythm game is such a unique idea. And it's very rare that you will have such a unique idea that people will be clambering to steal it. It's just better to get your ideas out and talk to people about things that you are passionate about and that people can help you with. So I hope that, sharing your ideas will be valuable for you. And now number 4 is where the prototyping really begins. It's at the actual prototyping phase where you're putting it into, let's say, GB Studio. It could be Unity, could be GameMaker, could be Godot or something. Or it could be even board gaming where you're, writing things on paper and cutting it up and playing with your friends and family. But what you want to be doing is finding problems fast. You want to be pushing the boundaries of what you've thought about and really seeing, is this game either fun, is it complicated? Is it too complicated for me to do on my own? Some of these questions will be very valuable for knowing whether or not to continue. If you know that something is a prototype, or what I like to sometimes call as the demo, where it's a demonstration of a full game, it's not the actual full game, you'll actually be more willing to let go of it if you don't think it's actually worth spending your time on. Definitely think about, finding problems fast and finding solutions to them fast. If you encounter a problem, unless you have a time limit to get the game done in a week like a game jam, then you can sit back and think about, how could I solve this? And obviously that last point of talking to people will really help with that. And the reason why speed is so critical is that it doesn't let your ideas like get too attached to you. Once let's say you've spent a year on a game, it's very hard to say, oh, this isn't fun, or oh, I can't finish it, which is basically what's happening with Take It Racing 2. But I'm trying to be professional about it in the way that I can step back from it and see what the game actually needs for me to get done. And by prototyping things and trying to push the boundaries and thinking about, for example, making a spreadsheet was what I did, and thinking about how many things you're going to have in your game in order to say to yourself, can I actually do this? So I'll say it one more time. No idea comes into your head fully formed. It needs to be developed into reality. So on that note, I'll put my patrons up on screen right now. Thank you very much to you guys. You guys are the best. I hope you like this different form of video where my face is bigger and I'm talking and discussing things a bit more generally. I'll be back to making the Battleship video either the end of this week or next week. It's taking a while because, like I said in the last one, it's a lot of repetition. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this video, what you thought of this topic, what you thought of this style in the comments below. Remember to like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.